I think it's interesting that what we've seen over the last 10 to 15 years is a massive growth in the control of money laundering within the society. So you've had increasingly aggressive action by regulators towards banks, much more lower fines, etc. You've had more regulation, you have more laws. You've had, even I was chatting to my colleague from Italy on the way over here, and he was saying that in Italy you cannot make a payment in cash between two people, which is in excess of €1,000. It's a criminal offence to use cash to make that payment, unless you could carry out a notification so that your cash payment is actually recorded somewhere. So you have this great growth on one side of trying to control money laundering, and that at the moment is taking effect by the regulators wanting to know or have the ability to examine every transaction if they choose to do so. At the moment you have something which actually, although potentially capable of being made more visible in terms of what's happening, is at the moment relatively anonymised, and so you have the possibility of money being transferred many times, broken into small parts, moved in several directions, coming back to one central place. You have that possibility existing under this new currency concept, if you like. And I think the problem with it is that the regulators are not going to like it. I mean, they've already, of course, taken steps in terms of arresting one of the founders, ultimately, in the US for money laundering in connection with Silk Road. So it's clearly, this is something which, in a funny way, I think we're in a sort of phony war situation at the moment, because the regulators are making noises about it, they're taking some steps, but it's not a coordinated attack. But I think there is a grave risk of a coordinated attack coming onto this, because I think to have a system where you had all of this complex regime of trying to control payments more and more and more, to have a system which would actually drive a coach and horses through that is something which I just don't see the regulators are going to take lying down. You also have enormous vested interests in the payment service industry, and so you have a lot of people who will not want Bitcoin to succeed, or won't want any cryptocurrency to succeed. And those are powerful interests. Those are banks and people who have enormous lobbying capability, and who will say it's completely unfair for us this to be completely unregulated. We're now competing with something which is unregulated. We have to do all these checks. This is not fair. It's not a level playing field.